Hi children, good morning to all. How are you all? Hope you all are doing good. So welcome to another session. So in the previous session we discussed about natural resources. In that natural resources we discussed about biotic components, abiotic components, living things and non-living things, the interaction between living things and non-living things, and how the organisms causes the pollution. So we discussed about air, water, soil. The humans are directly or indirectly depending on these abiotic components as they are using to survival of their needs. Along with that, they are causing damage to the natural resources and they are causing a pollution. How the pollution is causing and how we have to take the measures to control all these pollutions we discussed. So today I want to go with the session that is a new concept of the same chapter, that is biogeochemical cycles. Let us see what is a biogeochemical cycles. Bio means life, geo means geographical cycles. The cyclic processes takes place in between the geographical conditions and living organisms. So the geographical conditions, they may be air, water, temperature, different types of components of gases, these all. So in the living world, the cyclic processes has to be taken place. If these cyclic processes are not taking place, the survival of organisms becomes very difficult and organisms cannot survive in their living world. So let us see how the cycling processes are taking place, how the organisms getting into cyclic manner. So that is nothing but biogeochemical cycles. In these biogeochemical cycles, we will discuss about water cycle, oxygen cycle, carbon cycle, phosphorus cycle and nitrogen cycle. These are the different types of cycles, how they cyclic mannerly they will be provided. So biogeochemical cycles mainly two types. So they are gaseous biogeochemical cycles and the sedimentary biogeochemical cycles. Let us see biogeochemical cycles. Biogeochemical cycles are transfer of matter and energy between the biotic and abiotic components of the biosphere. What is a biosphere? Biosphere is nothing but it is a sphere which is having interaction between the biotic components and abiotic components. So physical components, chemical components and living components. There is an interaction between the atmosphere, that is called as a biosphere. So biogeochemical cycles are they transfer the matter and energy between biotic and abiotic compounds. What they will transfer? Energy. Matter and energy they will transfer between the biotic components in the biosphere region. So the common biogeochemical cycles are, here we can see water cycle, nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle and oxygen cycle. Water is a daily need for all the living beings. So from the morning to night until bed, from the wake up from the bed to the sleep to the bed, we have a lot of need of a water. So we cannot survive without water. At least we cannot drink even once in a day. Yes or no? So at least that is so compulsory the water is needed for biological processes or metabolic activities which are taking place. What are metabolic activities? The activities which helps to produce energy in the body or facilitate energy in the body for the organ systems to work well, that are called as metabolic activities. So if a man want to survive himself, he has to undergo for different activities throughout the day. For every activity he needs the energy. So if the energy should be needed, the biological activities should be controlled in the body. All these activities should be controlled by the water. Water is most important, not only as internal parts of the human body or organism's body, as well as in the external, in the environment also there is a lots of need about the water. So the water in a cyclic manner it is producing in the living world. Nitrogen cycle, it is a building blocks. Building blocks means it produces proteins. The food which we are eating consists of the proteins. That proteins provide building body building to the body and muscle construction to the body. And also the DNA in the nucleus which is a genetical material, hereditary material, helps to transfer the parental traits to the children. These all are main content caused by the nitrogen. So nitrogen is also essential component. And coming to the carbon cycle, carbon is very most important, though it is a polluted gas or it is a greenhouse effect gas also. It is very most important. Why? Because if there is no carbon dioxide, there is no carbohydrates. In the process of photosynthesis, the plants convert the carbon dioxide into carbohydrates in the form of a food for us. No? So if there is no carbon dioxide also, there is no food for the living beings. How it is cyclic manner, it rotating, and it is providing to the living beings. And the oxygen cycle. Oxygen is a most essential component in the living world. So if there is no oxygen, no respiration. If there is no respiration, we cannot live. Yes, during the process of respiration, we take inside the oxygen and leaving a carbon dioxide. And the breaking down of glucose with the help of oxygen is nothing but is called as a respiration. So it is energy releasing process. During the process of respiration, the oxygen combines with the hemoglobin and forms oxyhemoglobin and produce the energy. So if there is no oxygen, these metabolic activities cannot be done and energy cannot be produced in the body. Oxygen is also essential. Not only for respiration, it is also helpful for the combustion also. Yes or no? So if there is no combustion, ultimately in the body the food has to be combusted and energy should be produced. That is also one of the part. So oxygen is most important. So these all are the components should be provided. How much they are being used by the human welfare, and again they has to be recycled. If they are not recycling, they cannot be produced again. If they are not produced, there is no availability. Okay, oxygen is found in the elemental form in the atmosphere to the extent of 21% in the air. So 21% of oxygen is present in the air. It is found also in the form of carbon dioxide. Oxygen can also find in the form of a carbon dioxide. So in the Earth's crust, it is found as the oxides of most metals, silicon, and also as a carbonates, sulfates and nitrates and other minerals. So in all these forms also the oxygen is available. So if you take the earth crust, so in the earth crust we can find nitrogen 78%, oxygen 21%, other gases 0.03%, that means even carbon dioxide, and inert gases, mainly argon 0.93%, and water vapor 0.01%. These are all the components present in the earth crust. So aluminium 8%, iron 6%, magnesium 4%, calcium 2.4%, potassium 2.3%, sodium 2.1%, and other gases are 1%. Oxygen nearly 46% in earth crust it is available. Silicon 28%. These are the availabilities in the earth crust. So it is also essential component of most biological molecules like carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, fats or the lipids. Oxygen cycle maintains the levels of the oxygen in the atmosphere. So the level of the oxygen should be maintained in the environmental condition or in the atmosphere in the normal condition. So if it is not in a normal condition or it cannot be produced in the cyclic manner also, it cannot be used. So even in the process of photosynthesis, then the oxygen has to be released and the carbon dioxide will be accepted by the plants for their process of photosynthesis. But in case of respiration, the plants take inside the oxygen and they leave out the carbon dioxide. Now let us see the oxygen cycle. Up to now we discussed the importance of oxygen. Every living being, they take in the process of respiration oxygen. If you tighten your nose and the mouth tightly, and if you want to stay, you cannot stay at least for 50 minutes. 50 seconds, hardly 1 minute we can live. Which means without oxygen no one organism can live, except the organisms which possess anaerobic respiration like bacteria. Other than bacteria, fungus like yeast, they have their respiration in the presence of carbon dioxide. They don't need oxygen. So rest of all other organisms, they need the oxygen. So oxygen from the atmosphere is used up in the process, namely combustion, respiration, and in the formation of oxides of nitrogen, nitrous oxide, nitrogen dioxide, nitric oxide. These all are the oxides of the nitrogen. If these oxide has to be formed, the oxygen is compulsory needed. So oxygen is returned to the atmosphere only one major process, that is the photosynthesis. So for all the organisms, only the one way of available of oxygen is by the process of photosynthesis. If there is no process of photosynthesis, there is no production of oxygen. So here you can see that oxygen cycle. So in this oxygen cycle, if you take oxygen is present in the water, carbon dioxide in the form of carbon dioxide. So it can be made use by the process of photosynthesis. From the photosynthesis, the oxygen liberated to the atmosphere. So oxygen is liberated to the atmosphere, and also through the organic molecules like glucose, that is a C6H12O6. It is the formula of the glucose. So by the organic molecules or the atmosphere in the form of oxygen, they will be liberated into the environment. So these oxygen again will be made use by the process of respiration by all the living organisms. All the living organisms take this oxygen for their process of respiration. So during this respiration, when they took the oxygen into their bodies, they used to liberate carbon dioxide and hydrogen dioxide. So this is the important portion which is played by the oxygen. Oxygen plays a key role in the environment, which facilitate life oxygen or a life gas, which facilitate life for all the living organisms. So coming to the next cycle is water cycle. In your early classes, you know that how the rains form. How does the rain form? The water in the water bodies gets evaporated, and again it forms into the clouds. The clouds cool down and they condensate. Again they form in the form of droplets, and they used to fall. They cool, they become cool, and again they fall in the form of a rain. This rain again catch by the water bodies like lakes, rivers, oceans and the seas. From the oceans and the seas, from the land source, this water again will be evaporated, and again they falls in the form of a water, in the form of a rain. So rain is the main source of the water cycle. So when water bodies are heated during the day, a large amount of water evaporates and rise up. Some water vapor also get into the atmosphere due to the biological activities like transpiration and respiration. So water vapor comes by the process of transpiration and respiration. What is a transpiration? The excessive amount do you know, children, when we give water to the plants make use only 1% of water for their process of photosynthesis or their life activities, their metabolic activities, and the 99% of the water will be liberated in the process of a transpiration. That's why as the global warming is increasing, the people are telling us to grow the plants. When we grow more plants, they are able to release more amount of the water in the form of a transpiration, and they cool the clouds and they form the rains, and they provide a cool environment as well as they produce the rain. So we can increase again the sources of water on the land, and also we can reduce the content of pollution also by increasing the growth of the plants on the land region. Okay, so transpiration is nothing but elimination of excessive amount of the water from the plant body through the stomata is called as a transpiration. So the plants use only 1% of water. The remaining 99% of water will be liberated into the environment or atmosphere in the form of a transpiration or evaporation. So as the water vapor rise, it cools and condenses to the form of tiny droplets of water. This appears as a clouds. When the tiny droplets of water join together to form bigger drops of water, they fall down as a rain and a snow. So they will cool, they condense, again they fall in the form of a rain. So this is called nothing but a water cycle. Some of these water enters to the ground forms, and groundwater, when the water flows from the land and the seas, it carries many nutrients and minerals which are used by the marine organisms. So when the water falls, it carries along with the groundwater the minerals and the nutrients. These minerals and the nutrients are used as the food for the animals or the aquatic organisms. Aquatic organisms means, aqua means water. Animals which live in the water, they are called as aquatic organisms. It will be used by the aquatic organisms. So we know the water vapor form from the water bodies, and subsequent condensation of the water vapor leads to rain. But even after this continuous condensation process, we don't see the seas and the oceans drying up. So now question comes in our mind, how is the water returning to the water bodies? By the form of rains. So we never find that the oceans and seas will dry up. We can find drying of rivers, lakes, the small water bodies may dried off, but we never find the drying of seas in the oceans. So but still, how the water is forming? By the evaporation of water, this water will be condensate and they form the clouds, and they form into a big water droplets. These water droplets again they fell in the form of rains. Okay, so the water cycle, the whole process in which water evaporates and falls on the land as a rain and later flow back into the sea via rivers is known as the water cycle. Do you know all the rivers, they go and mix with the oceans and the sea? So yes or no? The area where the ocean and the river mix together, that place is called as a estuaries. So the water which is fell in the rivers also, they flow and they go and mix with the oceans. So in this manner, again from the oceans and the rivers, it will be evaporated, and again it starts to fall in the form of a rain. So all of the water that falls on the land doesn't immediately flow back into the seas. Some of it seeps into the soil and becomes of the part of underground reservoirs of fresh water. So the water which is completely fell in the form of rains also, it won't mix into the rivers. But the some amount of water, they seep, they absorb by the soil, and they get into the form of groundwater. So these groundwater absorb into the soil, and it facilitate as fresh water. So it can be used by digging the wells. Many land areas where we doesn't find availability of the water, they used to dig the soil and drag the water through the wells and the bores. No? So the rainwater which is seeps deep into the soil, it settle down as fresh water bodies. So these water will be gain again in the sources of water into the small channels like wells and bore wells, and will drag the water and will make use of this water. So some of this underground water finds its way to the surface through springs, or we bring it to the surface of are used through the wells or the tubes. So water is also used terrestrial animals and the plants for various life processes. As you know, water is capable of dissolving a large number of substances. Yes, for all the living beings, water is needed. Maximum of the substances can be dissolved in the water. That's why the water is called as a universal solvent. It is able to dissolve all the substances in itself. That's why the water is called as the universal solvent. Except like oil, kerosene, petroleum, they doesn't dissolve in the water bodies. Rest of all others, they can dissolve in the water bodies. So same how the oxygen is most important, the same manner the water is also very most important. So the water which is evaporated from the water bodies, it gains in the form of a rain. Again this rain will fall in the water bodies, again it forms into the rain. It is a cyclic process which is called as a water cycle. So the next cycle is the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen gas up to 78% of our atmosphere and is also part of many molecules essential to life like proteins, nucleic acid, DNA and RNA, and some vitamins. Nitrogen is found alkaloids and urea too. So these nitrogen can be found in many parts. As we discussed in the starting of the concept, nitrogen is a building blocks of the body. So if the body muscles has to be built, that person should consume more amount of proteins. These proteins are formed by the nitrogen. So this nitrogen cannot be used by any animal as in the form of a nitrogen. Though the atmosphere consists of nearly 78% of nitrogen, no one organism will make use the nitrogen as in the form of a nitrogen. So the nitrogen has to be converted into the nitrites, nitrates or ammonia. So nitrites and nitrates will be make use by the organisms as well as in the form of ammonia also. So the process of conversion of nitrogen into nitrites and nitrates is called as nitrification or nitrogen fixation. And these nitrites and nitrates, if they are converted in the form of ammonia, that process is called as ammonification. So after formation of this ammonia or the nitrites and nitrates, again they will be converted in the form of nitrogen. So the conversion of nitrites and nitrates again convert in the form of a nitrogen is called as denitrification. So here we are studying about three concepts: nitrogen fixation or nitrification, ammonification and denitrification. That means the conversion of nitrogen into nitrites and nitrates is called as nitrification or nitrogen fixation. And conversion of nitrogen into ammonia or nitrites and nitrates into ammonia, that is called as ammonification. And the conversion of nitrites and nitrates or ammonia again in the form of a nitrogen, that process is called as denitrification. Not only for that process, the plants, the animals need this protein content in the form of a nitrites and nitrates. Even the main component DNA and RNA, they are nucleic acids. They are made by the proteins. These proteins are nothing but ultimately form of amino acids. Okay, and some vitamins also formed by the nitrogen. So nitrogen is found in alkaloids. Alkaloids are nothing but they are the medicines which are derived from the plants. And urea is a chemical which is useful for the plant. See children, here you can see the Venn diagram. Water vapor, other constituent 0.01%, oxygen is 20.94%, argon 0.93%, carbon dioxide 0.03%, nitrogen is 78.09%. This much of amount of nitrogen is present in the atmosphere. So the DNA is completely composed by the nucleic acids. These nucleic acids are nothing but they are composed by the nitrogen. So the urea also composed by the nitrogen. Now let us have a clear study about the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is an essential nutrient of all life forms. However, except few forms of bacterial life forms are not able to convert the nitrogen molecules from the nitrates and the nitrites, which can be taken up and used make in the form of required molecules. So however the molecules are required for the organisms. You can see here the conversion, the cyclic formation, ammonification, nitrification, nitroassimilation, nitrogen fixation, atmospheric nitrogen. This atmospheric nitrogen, again denitrification, nitrification. So the process of conversion of nitrogen into nitrites and nitrates is called as nitrogen fixation. So you can see the nitrogen fixation even the legume plants. You can see the roots of the groundnut plant. The roots of the groundnut plant consist of Rhizobium leguminosarum bacteria. The roots of the groundnut plant consists of the bacteria Rhizobium leguminosarum. So these Rhizobium leguminosarum bacteria convert the nitrogen into nitrites. You know, these groundnuts are rich in content of proteins because they are made by the nitrogen components. So these nitrogen fixing bacteria may be free living or associated with some species of dicot plants in the roots of leguminous. Leguminous means all the beans, groundnut, red gram, green gram, moong dal, these all comes under the leguminous plants. So generally the plants which give us pulses, okay, all the pulses, is specially structure called as root nodules. So the part in the picture you can see the root nodules. These root nodules, they consist of nitrogen fixing bacteria, that is called as nitrogen fixing bacteria, nothing but Rhizobium leguminosarum. So other hand, these bacteria, the only other manner in which the nitrogen molecule is converted to nitrates, and nitrates is by lightning. During lightning, the high temperature, lightning means when the rains fall, we'll find the lightnings, no, that are. During lightning, the high temperatures and pressure creates in the air convert the nitrogen into oxides of nitrogen, which dissolve in water to give nitric and nitrous acids, so and fall on the land along with the rain. So these are then utilized by the various life forms. You can see here the atmospheric and industrial fixation, they causes in the nitrification, by the nitrification, the nitrates, again the nitrates, denitrification, nitrogen in atmosphere conducted by the nitrogen fixation, and they will made into the protoplasm of green plants, and it will be converted into ammonification and convert in the ammonia. So this ammonia, otherwise from the protoplasm, from the animals, it is converted in the form of ammonia. By the nitrification, again it enters into the atmosphere, again it will be converted in the form of nitrogen. So in this way, in the form of a cyclic manner, the nitrogen will fix. Here you can see plants generally take up nitrates and nitrites and convert them into ammonic acids, which are used to make proteins. Some other biochemical pathways are used to make the other complex compounds containing the nitrogen. These plants convert the nitrogen into complex compounds. You can see here nitrogen cycle. Plants generally take up nitrates and nitrites and convert them into ammonia acid, which are used to make proteins. Some other biochemical pathways are used making the other complex compounds containing nitrogen. So these proteins and other complex compounds are used subsequently consumed by the animals. Once the animal or the plants die, other bacteria, the also soil convert various components of the nitrogen back into the nitrates and nitrites. So the different types of bacteria convert the nitrites and nitrates into elemental nitrogen, and ultimately they form the nitrogen cycle. So here you can see the nitrogen cycle, as we discussed in the previously, how the nitrification, ammonification, denitrification will take place in the environment, and it form in the cyclic form, that which we known as a nitrogen cycle. So all the living organisms are made of carbon. This is a carbon cycle. Carbon is also a part of a ocean, air, and even rocks. So in the atmosphere, carbon is attached to the some oxygen in the gas called as carbon dioxide. So if the carbon is mixed with the oxygen, that we call as a carbon dioxide. Plants use carbon dioxide, sunlight to make their own food and grow. The carbon becomes as a part of the plants. So plants that die and are buried may turn into the fossil fuels, that is the coal, petroleum. These all are also comes from the plants itself. Okay, plants that die and are buried may turn into a fossil fuels and made of carbon like coal and oil over millions of the years. When human burns fossil fuels, most of the carbon quickly enters the atmosphere, passes to the carbon dioxide. So it if we want to make it a simplify, the organisms take oxygen and they liberate the carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide again used by the plants by the process of photosynthesis. Again they liberate oxygen. When we take again the oxygen, The food which we eat is made by the carbon dioxide. Yes or no? In the process of photosynthesis, the plants convert the carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. The carbohydrate which we eat, after they digested, they will be liberated in the form of a carbon dioxide again. So again this carbon dioxide liberated into the environment accepted by the plants. So the plants again they release oxygen. So again we eat the plant material in the form of carbohydrates. So carbon dioxide is liberated, oxygen enters into the body, provide the energy. This carbon dioxide liberated into the environment. It is a cyclic process, it continues. So this is nothing but it is a carbon cycle. So carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas because it is a hot gas. If you keep your finger at your nose and if you release a gas, during the expiration we release a carbon dioxide. You can find that is a hot air. When we take inhalation, if you take air through your mouth and observe at the region of your throat, you feel that very cool. The cool air is oxygen. So carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, and traps heat in the atmosphere without and other greenhouse gases. So Earth would be froze world, but humans have burned so much fuel that there is about 30% more carbon dioxide in the air today than there was about 150 years ago. The earth becomes a warm place. So generally, as we are burning even by combustion also, more amount of carbon dioxide is liberating and causing complete hot condition to the environment. So carbon is found in the elemental forms as a diamond. These are the forms of carbon. Diamonds, graphite in the combined state. It is found as a carbon dioxide in the atmosphere as a carbonate, and hydrogen, carbonate, salts in the various minerals, while life forms are based on the carbon containing molecules like proteins, carbohydrates, fats, nucleic acids and vitamins. These all are also composed by the carbon dioxide. So the endoskeletons and the exoskeletons of various animals are also formed by the carbonate slates. So these are all formed by the carbon. Again we have given is a Venn diagram, the percentile of gases which are present in the environment. So most of the carbon dioxide present in the environment is 0.3%. So in the carbon dioxide here also we can find. Though the basic process of photosynthesis, the presence of sunlight, the chlorophyll, carbon is incorporated into the life forms. That process convert carbon dioxide from the atmosphere or dissolved in the water into glucose molecules, or the dissolved in the water into glucose molecules. So these glucose molecules either converted into other substances or used to provide energy for the synthesis of the biologically important molecules. So biologically important means the food that is now only we discussed that, no? Proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, these all. So the utilization of glucose to provide energy to live things involves the process of respiration, in which oxygen may or may not use it to convert the glucose back into the carbon dioxide, which then goes back into the atmosphere. So the carbon dioxide which is enters again back to the atmosphere, it will be accepted again by the plants, again release oxygen. So the carbon dioxide which is released into the atmosphere again with accepted by the plants, again they convert in the form of carbohydrates. These carbohydrates again accepted by us in the form of food. So carbon dioxide is completely polluted air. Another process that adds to the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is the process of combustion, burning. So where fuels are burned to provide energy for various needs like heating, cooking, transportation, industrial processes. In all these processes also the carbon dioxide is liberating to the atmosphere. So the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is said to have doubles since the industrial evolution, when human beings started burning fossil fuels to very large scale. As the technology is developing day by day, we are using most industrialization. Due to this most industrialization, lot of amount of carbon dioxide is liberating. So the atmospheric carbon dioxide is used by organic compounds in the plants by the photosynthesis. So from there it is liberated in the carbonates. These carbonates may form in the limestones. From the limestones they form as coal. And also these carbon dioxide which is liberated from the plants, they may form in the form of a petroleum. This petroleum gets to combustion, again released into the atmosphere. Again, the carbon compounds which are released from the plants can be make use by organic compounds in the animals like a proteins. These proteins again can be converted into the inorganic compounds like a shells, the seashells. We discussed the calcareous shells. The molluscan animals convert them into a calcareous shells which are made by calcium carbonate. They are the protective covers of the organisms. They protect the body. So in these several manners the carbon dioxide is liberated. So when the carbon dioxide is excessively liberated into the environment, it causes the greenhouse effect. What is a greenhouse effect? A part of the sunlight inside on the earth is reflected back in the form of infrared lights. Some gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbons, short form we call them as a CFCs, also known as the greenhouse gases, present in the earth's atmosphere prevent the escape of the heat from the earth by the absorbing these infrared lights which is reflected back by the earth, and increasing the percentage of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere would cause an increase in the average temperature worldwide, and this phenomenon is known as greenhouse effect. In several ways we are releasing the carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide increasing the earth's temperature which is resulting in the form of a greenhouse gas, that we call it as a greenhouse effect or a global warming. So thus the heating of the atmosphere due to the absorption of the infrared radiation by carbon dioxide molecules and other greenhouse gases is called as a greenhouse effect. So the greenhouse effect is process by which thermal radiation from the planetary surface is absorbed by the atmospheric greenhouse gases and is re-radiant in all directions. So since part of their re-radiation is back towards the surface, energy is transferred to the surface and the lower atmosphere. So this energy touches to the lower atmosphere. As a result, the temperature there is higher than it would be in the direct heating by the solar radiation, where the only warming mechanism. So what are the effects of the greenhouse effect? Faster warming of oceans and the catastrophic rising of the sea level. When the temperature increase, generally the melting of polar ice caps will be melted, and the water level increased into the environment. So flooding of agricultural lower lands, extremely climatic changes as the sea surface temperature increases, this provide optimum conditions for the storm formation, increasing the frequency and intensity of a natural disaster such as hurricanes. Hurricanes are a type of cyclones. So when the water level is increased, automatically tsunamis will be caused. So how we have to prevention methods of the greenhouse effect? So reduce, reuse, recycle. This is called as a 3 R's formula. So how we have to reduce, how we have to reuse, and how we have to recycle. Buying products which minimal package will help to produce or reduce waste by recycling half of your household waste, that you can save nearly 4,400 pounds of the carbon dioxide annually. And next one is plant a tree. If you have the means to plant a tree, start digging trees, absorb the carbon dioxide. The trees, if you start to plant the tree, they started to absorb the more amount of carbon dioxide and give off oxygen. So a single tree will absorb approximately 1 ton of carbon dioxide during its lifetime. So buy energy efficient products, home appliances how come in a range of energy efficient models, and compact fluorescent bulbs are designed to provide more natural looking light while using a less energy than standard light bulbs. So use less heat and air conditions. So by using air conditions, these also they used to release more amount of chlorofluorocarbons. So if you reduce them also, adding insulation to your walls and installing weather strippings or the caulking around doors and windows can lower your heating customs more than 25% by reducing the atmosphere of energy you need to heat and cool your home. So use less hot water. Set your water heaters at 120 degrees to save energy, and wrap it on insulating a blanket. It is more than 50 years old by low flow somewhere to save the hot water and about 350 pounds of carbon dioxide yearly we can save. Wash your clothes in a warm or a cold water. Reduce your use of hot water and the energy required to produce it. So the change alone can save at least 500 pounds of carbon dioxide annually in the most household waste. So due to the pollution of carbon dioxide and usage of more content of chlorofluorocarbons, we are finding ozone depletion. So let us see ozone depletion. The ozone layer sits in the stratosphere approximately 25 kilometers above the earth. So it is made up of ozone gases that acts like a blanket to stop too much UV radiation from the sun entering to the atmosphere. So it acts as a blanket and prevent the entry of UV radiations onto the land. So the ozone layer prevent harmful UV radiation entering to the earth. So which is vital because too much of these UV rays can cause us cancer, cataracts and DNA damages. Cancer, that is mostly skin cancers, cataracts related to the eye damage and damage to the DNA. This if DNA is damaged, generally the babies who are getting a birth, during the birth, many organs may degenerated. Okay, so as UV radiance hits the ozone layer, the ozone gas absorbs the radiation and turns it into the oxygen. So small amounts of ozone are constantly being made by the action of sunlight on the oxygen. At the same time, ozone is being broken down by natural and unnatural processes that leads to the ozone depletion as we are increasing this pollutant content. So here you can see the ozone layer. So if this process is greater than the production of ozone, the ozone layer becomes thinner and less effective. So ozone depletion occurs when the natural balance between the production and destruction of atmosphere or the stratospheric ozone is tipped in a favor of destruction. So as of now, there is a huge hole in the ozone layer above the Antarctic region. In the picture you can see ozone layer. In the 1982, that is a small depletion in the ozone layer. When it is observed in the 2011 year, so the depletion content is increased due to the excessive amount of the pollution. So what causes of ozone holes? How it causes? The cause of the ozone holes is generally agreed to the CFCs, by the CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons compounds which break down due to the ultraviolet light and becomes free radicals containing chlorine high in the Earth's atmosphere. So these radiations then break down the ozone catalytically. The ozone layer can also be depleted by the free radical catalyst including nitric oxide, nitrous oxide, hydrogen, hydroxyl, atmospheric chlorine and atomic bromine. So they will separated in different types of gases and they causes ozone depletion. So what are the effects if the ozone layer is depleted? An increase in UV radiation has been linked to an increase in the skin cancers which affects fair skinned individuals who are at the greatest risk at the dark skin people. So most effect for the whitish people. Okay, Scientists have proved that 1% depletion in ozone causes 5% increase in the cases of skin cancer. So the depletion rate has been 6% since 1970, and therefore the number of cancer cases also increasing rapidly. So UV radiation has also increased the number of cases of cataracts, which affects the people's vision. So immunity to diseases has also been affected due to the increase in UV radiations entering the atmosphere. The depletion of ozone and increase in UV rays can also lead to DNA damage, which can be catastrophic. So which causes different kinds of diseases in the organisms. Now let us see what are the solutions to prevent the ozone depletion. The ozone hole is here to stay for about 50 years before the ozone levels will start to return to the normal level. So any ozone that we could artificially add would most likely to be destroyed. A different approaches is destroy the CFCs. So another possible plan to dump about 50,000 tons of earth or the propane into the Antarctic stratosphere each spring. However, there are no official plans to try fix the ozone holes in the artificial, because we don't know enough about a stratospheric environment. So oxygen refers to ozone. Oxygen is found in the atmosphere in the form of oxygen. So a diatomic molecules having 2 atoms of oxygen, which chemical form of oxygen. A triatomic molecule, O3 molecule having 3 atoms of oxygen, which chemical formula of O3 called as ozone. Ozone is present in the transporter. The stratosphere reaches to the 30 miles above the earth and at the very top. So it contains the ozone. What are the functions? Ozone layer shield the entire earth from much of the harmful ultraviolet radiation that comes from the sun. They will protect us from the ultraviolet. So depletion of ozone layer, the main cause of this is release of chlorofluorocarbons causes a depletion of ozone layer. So you can see there are sprayers, sprayer bottles, ACs, coolers, refrigerators. Okay, so these all are. So you have given the worksheet. I'll give you a work. So we will meet in the next session, children. Thank you all.